Our third candidate will be David Garcia from Paraguay, and his project is reAcción Paraguay. Please.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Okay? I'd like to tell you a very unlikely story about constructive impatience and conflict. A story about innovation based on the mundane, with counterintuitive insights for anti-corruption. It started when I was 17, and a rumor spread that I would run for president of the Students' Council in one of the largest public high schools in my country, Paraguay. Shockingly, that rumor was enough for the incumbent president, a kid my age, to offer us money to stay out. I had always despised politics. I found it dirty and corrupt, but I felt a sense of responsibility and duty. You see, I'm the son of a shoeshine boy and a girl adopted from the streets, who barely finished high school when I was already in the 6th grade. My parents taught me that education is a privilege, and if you have access to it, it becomes a responsibility and a duty to your community. So I ran. We won the elections and immediately began investigating. Corruption was pervasive. To expose it, I led a mass demonstration mobilizing over 3,000 students for 4 weeks. I was defamed by the news media, almost went to jail a few times, and was threatened by the police. Reality slapped me on the face and made me 10 years older in 1 month. How can a country say it is fighting corruption if its next generations of leaders are being educated by corrupt people? And that's when I understood. It's not about individuals. Nothing short of a strong community with high skills and capabilities, with sustainable resources, led by people who have actually suffered the problems they were trying to solve, could do it. But I was only 17. So, a few months later, I started reAcción, fully aware that I would not live to see the changes I would be fighting for. Sustainable change takes decades. But who has patience to build long-term in the age of immediate gratification and social media? Our story is unlikely because it's the story of youth that has built community based on constructive conflict and focusing our impatience for over a decade. The challenge is that youth is not, well, it's often associated with passion, bursts of idealism, and disruptive acts, not with discipline, pragmatism, and constructive acts. In short, we are old enough for the revolutions, but we're too young and inexperienced for anything else. So, a few decades ago, with a group of teenagers, I chose to revolutionize anti-corruption in the education sector. And we began in 2013 with Paraguay's most important education fund, about $90 million annually distributed for school infrastructure and meals. I guess we were not ambitious. In 2020, 7 years afterwards, that's how we started FOCO, our community monitoring tool to monitor the allocation of the funds I mentioned. FOCO harnesses open government data from 3 key ministries and enriches them with data produced by citizens in order to facilitate collective action activities to showcase, identify, and prioritize public investment in education, while simultaneously allowing the exposure of irregularities such as corruption and misallocation. Although this is a very new application, it has already influenced a major policy reform in Paraguay in the procurement system, and it has become its public interface. But until last year, we've only had access to data at the contract stage, which means it was too late to tackle corruption. who could only expose it. With focal and community participation, now we can know where the money is going at the tender stage, which gives us 3 months on average for citizens to denounce and block corruption. So now we can finally prevent it. Because Paraguay uses the open contracting data standard, this means that focal can be adapted and implemented in the more than 30 countries that are currently implementing said standard. And it can also be adapted to, say, the healthcare sector. What about on national impact? In the past decade, we have increased fivefold the public investment in the neediest schools in our municipality. We have developed effective technological solutions for problems in the education and healthcare sectors. And we have achieved major reforms working closely in cooperation with government ministries. I've led those achievements with a staff that has never averaged over 23 years of age. All of them were first volunteers, who like myself come from poor communities. Our background and experience led us to very counterintuitive insights. For instance, transparency is more about trust than access. Anti-corruption should be political. Technology should not save us the trouble of being citizens by automating tasks that should be done by citizens. And the mundane can be revolutionary. The mundane can be revolutionary. The current situation in Paraguay makes the Netflix series Narcos seem unimaginative and boring, honestly. The importance of education is evident for development. But let me stress one point. Kids who cannot finish school are assets for organized crime lords. In conclusion, in our impatient times, I wish our unlikely story reminds us of three things. First, immediate gratification only happens in social media. Sustainable change takes time and collective action. Second, we should approach change and work for change that we will not live to see. This gives us clarity to differentiate what we want to do from what needs to be done. Third and finally, true hope is not believing in something because it is likely to happen, but because there is justice in what we believe in. In that sense, hope is justice to come. Hope is justice to come. They are justice to come. Thank you very much.